Welcome back, whippersnappers. This is Gramps, and we are here in Shapes 2 Challenge Mode, the Dimension Update, and this is the final episode of this series, building this out. So we've finished up our Crystal MAM, and last episode we ended with this MAM doing 3-layer shapes. And it had just done that. So I'm gonna get this up and running here and make sure that the 3-layer shape works. Then I'm just gonna let it kind of fast forward and zip along and get to the point where it is making 4-layer shapes. Because that, of course, is the goal. We want it to be making those 4-layer shapes. So we can just, basically walk away and sit and let it run and go wild. That's one of the fun things about this game. One of the ridiculous things about this game is that really one of the goals of the game is to build a machine that plays the game by itself. And that really is a challenge because there's so many different variations, and you have to sort of set up, well, here's what I want it to do, and here's what I'm not going to worry about it doing, and let it go forward like that. And that's why we typically build 2 different MAMs. There's 1 MAM for shapes and 1 MAM for crystals, because it's kind of 2 very, very different approaches. The one that is just shapes might use pins, but if you put pins through the crystallizers, then it's gonna add crystals over those pins and get rid of the pins. So that's part of the reason why it's trickier to have that as one machine. You could do it as one machine, but anyway. So like I said, this will be the final episode of this and series, and I wanted to talk about some of the things that I've learned in this series, and also future, what we're going to do next. One of the things I've learned, I feel, is, and I kind of learned this towards the end of the last series, is when I'm building depots that are going to be blueprinted, is keep them all going in the same direction. Left or right, it doesn't matter, but keep them consistent and always going off in the same way. If I'm going to be using single trains, which I do very often, you've seen, then I want to just have a 1 space in between the depot and the stop before it. So you have the depot, a stop, and then a space, and then a depot, and then a stop. So that is helpful. One of the other things that I think is the huge lesson that I learned, especially in creating the Crystal MAM, and this goes back to the old in the old version of the game before Dimensions Update, is that we only had 8 channels for the global transmitters and receivers, and so you had to be very creative in using those. And so I decided to go a little wild this series, and I had I had a channel for every layer of every quadrant, and then I had multiple of each of those. So I think for the Crystal MAM, I had each layer, each quadrant times, was it 6? It's a lot. And the problem with that is when you update, it's very clunky to update, to add another layer or subtract a layer or whatever. So I think that one of the things I'm going to try to do next series is very much limit the different channels used. And I think, in fact, what I'm going to do is try to do all those calculations at the MAM level, not so much at the level of the where I set up like control panels around the vortex and then transmit those channels. So I'm going to try to do it right there at the MAM and try to see if I can just set up just one or a very small number of channels. So adding new layers is much easier. Even though you only do the adding layer once, but you know, it's just sort of a pain. And it just got to be super confusing. Another thing I want to do with the next series is build bigger sooner. It's really handy having mass shapes, the operator shapes, just flying into the vortex. Now, it definitely becomes easier once you have the vortex train direct delivery into the vortex. That makes it significantly easier. That said, until you get there, just have to maybe prioritize opening up the multiple entrances into the vortex. So we get all those opened up as soon as possible, as well as the multiple layers, multiple levels, and just get that going. Really kind of focus on that stuff. Get that in. So those are some of the things that I've learned with this run through, and what I want to do with the next series. And what I really want to do with the next series is, first of all, we're going to be insane mode, and which I know goes up to 5 levels. It's still 4 quadrants. I'm not going to do another hex build right now. So it's 4 quadrants, and it does go up to 5 layers. And I want to make sure that it's not even just going to be a standard build for that. It's going to be, I'm going to put some of the other handicaps on, and we'll go through those in the first episode and go through and see what we want to do. So that should be interesting. And if you are at all interested in watching that process and watching how we beat these challenges, because also, and I've mentioned this before, this will literally be my first time playing with the insane mode. I've started it before. I've literally got it going just to get a little flavor for it. But I've never completed any operator shapes in it. So, those shapes are just a little bit more intricate is all. I think that from what I've seen, I'm going to be focused less on layers and more on quadrants, and building up those quadrants and then merging them together. So we're going to be making big use of the swapper. I'm glad. I feel like I have a much better handle on the swapper now after this last series. 2 in, 2 out, and that's all good. And what else? Yeah, and like I said, we're gonna enable some of the handicaps. There's a bunch of different things in there that look kind of fun, actually. Just creating a challenge. But yeah, so if that's the sort of thing you're interested in seeing, is seeing me struggle my way through some of these challenges, please subscribe if you haven't already. Liking videos is super helpful. It just gets the video out there. You know how it all works. Blah, 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 algorithm, right? The more likes, the more subscribes, then the more popular video is, the more it's going to get shown to people who wouldn't normally see it. And then the more, it just starts domino effect from there. And it's super helpful. I am trying to build up this channel. And, I'm going to eventually have other games too. I've already played other games. You can see on my channel, I've got a whole series on Dave the Diver, which is amazing, great game. I've got a whole series on, a couple of series on V Rising, super fun game. These are games that I play. I mean, these are games that I really play and I enjoy playing. And, I'm trying to share... I'm not even trying to share, hey, this is the best way to play any of these games. I'm just sharing my, my joy and, what fun I have doing it. And, showing you possible ways you can beat these challenges. So anyway, let's get through to the end of this. I did finally get to 4 layers, and I just had to wire up the way it works, which was very similar to the way I added in the 3rd layer. So I just had to add in, just move some stuff around, make sure that the right information was getting through. Then the 4th layer came in, and it was good, and it worked. So anyway, that's going to be it for this series. We're going to start a new one. I do release videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and so this one's coming out on a Wednesday. So by Friday, we'll be starting our new series. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. We are also very much looking forward to the 1.0 release of this game. There's going to be a whole new way to play when that comes out. So I think, and this will, I think you'll still be able to play this way that we've played it so far, but there's going to be a whole new game mode. And I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of quality of life updates. I've mentioned a couple of them along the way. Number 1 on my list right now is having virtual rotators for all 3 different rotations, clockwise, counterclockwise, and 180. That would be a huge, huge help. It'd be nice maybe if some of the virtual machines did things that other things didn't. Like, for instance, if you had a virtual machine that could stack crystals without breaking them. Because when you stack them virtually, they still break. So it'd be nice if you could stack them without doing that as a virtual machine. And anyway, a couple of other things. Nothing major. It's still such a great game. And if you haven't bought it already, please, consider doing that. Supporting Tobspur Games. Tobias just does great work and is obviously very passionate about everything he does and that he releases. He really wants to make sure everything gets released is a very good quality. So that's where we are today. Please like, please subscribe, please join us in our next series, which will be starting on Friday, and then come back and join us again when 1.0 comes out, which is scheduled for, I believe, April of 26. So I'm very excited about that. So until then, this is Gramps signing off.